Hello everyone, Firemac here. It's been a while, hasn't it? Between Halloween, my trip to New York, the elections, and more, it has been a pretty hectic month for me. But I finally got a chance to check out all the anime me and Eneps had considered for fall 2016. We narrowed it down to the 10 best anime of the season. Now before we go on, I must let you guys know, I made an executive decision to not include any anime on the list that was another season of an ongoing anime. The only exception is if the new season was a completely new story with new characters. Now with that said, there are a couple of titles that I didn't even realize were extra seasons until well after I had watched them. But depending on the title, I made the decision to either not include them on the list or give them a pass. The top 10 will have descriptions directly from Anime News Network, and each anime was judged based on their first 1 or 2 episodes. So before we get into the nitty gritty, the following titles would have made the list if they were brand new anime. Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans, 2nd season. The first season was fantastic, and its follow-up looks to hold the same quality and pacing. If this were on the list, it would have been number 3. Bungo Stray Dogs, 2nd season. After our first impressions from the first season, we were hoping it would get better down the line, and taking a peek into the 2nd season showed us that it is definitely getting a lot better. If this was on the list, it would have been number 4. Ajin, 2nd season. First time around with this anime, we had given it a hard pass due to its jarring 3D animation, but we were more receptive to it this time around, and if you could get past the animation, the plot is actually really damn good. If this were on the list, it would have been number 5. Haikyuu Season 3. The volleyball anime that everyone loves returns for another season, continuing its excellence. If it were on the list, it would have been number 6. Natsume Yujin Sho Go. Now this is one of the animes I didn't originally realize was a new season, but after some research I realized the Go in the title meant 5, which meant Season 5. While the story felt fresh enough, I felt that there were still some connections to its previous seasons, so I decided not to include it in the final list. If it were on the list, it would have made number 9. Bubunki Boranki Hoshi no Kyojin. Another 3D anime from a previous season that had potential, but we originally had gotten bored with it after its first 2 episodes. With that said, the new season looks to be 10 times more entertaining than its previous season. If it was included in a list, it would have actually been stuck in honorable mention territory. Sucks for that anime. With that out of the way, let's dive right into the meat of the list. Trickster, Edogawa Rampo, Shonen Tanteidan Yuri. It is the 2030s. The Boy Detectives Club gathers under Kugoro Akechi, the mysterious detective. The group solves cases great and small using their unique skills. One day, a member of the club, Kensuke Hanazaki, meets the boy Yoshio Kobayashi. Kobayashi's body cannot die due to the effects of the unidentifiable mist, but he yearns for death and shirks from contact with other people. Taking an interest in him, Hanazaki invites him to join the Boy Detectives Club. Their meeting is connected to the fate tying together Kugoro Akechi and the era's greatest villain, the Fiend with 20 faces. At first glance, Trickster looked like it had the ingredients for an amazing anime. After delving more into the episode structure, it seems to be much more akin to Scooby-Doo in Japan. What I mean by that is that each episode has its own mystery that needs to be solved, and a motley group of characters get together to solve it. Albeit the narrative structure is a little more loose than that, the plot seems to be much more concerned with the side stories instead of the overall plot. There is potential here, but I'm not sure if sticking with this anime will pay off in the long run. Kaijo. Kaijo is a popular gambling sport where contestants stand on platforms floating on water and must use their butts and chests to fight against each other to push each other off the platform. Nozomi Kaminashi, a high school student, aims to join the sport after she graduates. Nozomi was raised in a poor family and hopes to make lots of money by playing Kaijo. She grew up training in gymnastics and she has good balance and flexibility. After high school, Nozomi joins a training boarding school and enters the world of Kaijo. Yes, what you're currently seeing on the screen does not deceive you. Kaijo is that special kind of anime that knows it's ridiculous and rolls with it. What you may think is just pure fan service is actually more aligned with an idea of a deconstruction of shonen and sports genres. It takes no time in glorifying the main character as this out-of-nowhere prodigy that is ready to take the sports scene by storm. Bundled with amazing attack move showcases, this show never fails to displease. I mean, just look at that butt action. Go, butt cannon! The Numbers, also known as Nanbaka. 4 men are assigned to the prison. Jugo, a man who attempted to break out of prison and ended up extending his jail time. Uno, a man who likes to gamble with women. Rock, a man who likes to get into fights. And Nico, a man who likes anime. The Numbers is a wonderful little quirky gag anime. It's colorful in both humor and presentation, with flamboyant characters that clearly don't understand the scope of the situation they're in. They could escape at any time due to incompetent jail guards, but they stay in jail anyway. Why? Well, I won't say because that would give away the punchline for some of the jokes in the show, but there really isn't any good reason for them to stay. They never feel like they're in prison, but instead they look like they're at home just relaxing with some pals. All the characters are quirky and delightful. The Numbers is a great anime to just relax and have a good laugh with. The Great Passage, also known as Fune wo Amu. Araki is a veteran editor for the dictionary department at the Genbu Shobo Publishing Company. He is looking for a successor now that he's approaching retirement age. After Majime Mitsuya, a salesman who's a poor talker, meets Masashi Nishioka, Araki's co-worker who is sociable and frivolous. Araki overhears their conversation and decides to recruit Majime into the department. The odd couple work together to compile a medium-sized Japanese dictionary titled The Great Passage, Dai Tokai. If I told you to watch an anime about making dictionaries, I'm sure you would just brush it off as some sort of gag anime or something over the top like a shonen. But in this case, we're actually talking about an anime very much set in reality. So how could this anime be interesting at all? Well, that's where great characterization and presentation comes in. The Great Passage introduces you to a world you most likely never heard of and shows you its significance. You'll come away believing in the importance of representing a dictionary. Still not convinced? Go on, give it a chance, and you too will understand what it means to have a dictionary with personality. Flip Flappers. Paprika and Coconut hold the keys to open the door. When the two girls meet, their adventures in a different time and different overlapping dimension called Pure Illusion begin. Many things in Pure Illusion will stand in the girls' way in their search for the mysterious crystal called Shard of Mimi, an item that is said to grant any wish. However, when the girls find themselves in danger, the Shard of Mimi shines, and they are able to transform. Flip Flappers is all about jump first and ask questions later. Within minutes of jumping into this adventure of a show, you'll be blindsided by the trip you'll be taking. One moment you'll be in the real world, and next you'll be snow surfing on some whale-like creature trying to get a pair of glasses. That is literally Flip Flappers. The plot is not important, but don't get me wrong, you'll eventually find a plot here. But it doesn't want you to be concerned about it. It wants to take you on a crazy acid trip of an adventure full of emotions. March comes in like a lion, also known as Three Gatsu no Lion. The protagonist Rei is a 17-year-old professional shogi player who lives by himself, not having a real family and has scarcely any friends. Among his acquaintances is a family which consists of a young woman, Akari, and 2 young girls, Hinata and Momo, and who also keep a numerous number of cats. March Comes In Like a Lion is a difficult anime to explain because it's not quite clear what's going on immediately. You can tell that Rei's not the happiest individual, but you're not quite sure why. We're taken on a slow ride through his life as he deals with living alone and playing professional shogi. His only real acquaintances are a triplet of sisters and the occasional colleague from his shogi lifestyle. Clearly meant for older audiences, March Comes In Like a Lion can be very depressing. The usage of sound and visuals will put you in the headspace of the main character, alone and cold. But luckily the anime won't bog you down too much, as there are plenty of more upbeat characters around Rei to keep the mood from getting too gloomy. We're meant to watch Rei's life unfold as he struggles with depression. Will we ever know what exactly happened to get him this way? I'm not sure, but it's still enticing to keep watching just to see what happens next. Yuri on Ice. Yuri Katsuki carried all of Japan's hopes on his shoulders to win at the Grand Prix finale ice skating competition, but suffered a crushing defeat. He returns home to Kyushu, and half feels like he wants to retire, and half feels like he wants to continue ice skating. Suddenly, the 5-time consecutive world champion ice skater Viktor Nikiforov appears before him with Yuri Plisetsky, a young Russian figure skater who is already defeating his seniors. Viktor and both Yuris take up the challenge on an unprecedented Grand Prix series. Yuri on Ice definitely surprised us this season with its upbeat nature. Judging from its early trailers, we figured it would be closer to something like March Comes In Like a Lion, but it's not quite the same. There's definitely the setting of reality, but it doesn't dwell too much on everyday occurrences. The plot comes in hard and fast in this anime, and by the time the first episode is over, you'll be begging to start up the next episode. The pacing is just that impeccable. The characters are all upbeat and unique, so you won't forget them anytime soon. Yuri on Ice looks to be a standout sports anime for the year. Izzetta The Last Witch, also known as Shumatsu no Izzetta. Guys, I'm gonna let you know just before I start talking here, there's a certain name in here I'm sure I'm gonna butcher the crap out of. So I'm sorry. In 1939, the imperialist nation of Germania launched a sudden invasion of its neighboring countries. This conflagration engulfed all of Europe in one fell swoop, and the era was dragged into the maelstrom of war. Then in 1940, Germania set its sights on Elisted, a tiny principality blessed with breathtaking greenery and water in the Alps. Izzetta is a descendant of a clan of witches who had passed down mysterious powers for generations. Since she was little, she and her grandmother lived their lives on the road, traveling between European countries in order to hide these powers. Fine is the sole daughter in line to succeed Rudolf III, the ruler of Principality of Elisdet. Since her father has been stricken by illness, she has been busy preparing for Germania's invasion in his stead. Izzetta The Last Witch was a surprise hit for the season. The first episode gets the action going and keeps it throughout the whole episode. And just when you thought you had the series figured out as another political war anime akin to Gundam, it throws you a curveball in the form of Izzetta, a witch! Izzetta adds a fantastical element to the whole premise that keeps the show fresh and entertaining. Being the last witch, she's faced with prejudice and discrimination, something a lot of us can relate to nowadays. Izzetta's love and devotion to Fine will really take them far in this fight for freedom. So please check out Izzetta The Last Witch. It'll definitely be worth your time. A Cultic 9. 9 idiosyncratic individuals are linked by the Chojo Kagaku Kirikiri Basara cult summary blog run by 17-year-old second-year high school student Yuta Gamon. Little incongruities that occur around these 9 eventually lead to a larger, unimaginable event that may alter what is considered common sense in this world. A truly fantastic anime here. I'm a sucker for narrative with multiple character viewpoints with a vague promise of their paths crossing. The 9 characters are all involved in the cult in some form or another. We have a girl with abnormally sized breasts with a ray gun, a girl with the ability to put curses on people, an invisible man, another girl with the ability to actually read someone's fortune, and that's just some of the 9. With so much mystery going on between all the crossing paths that you'll be wondering how it all connects. It's a truly great anime that you'll want to watch over and over to find hidden details that you may have missed on the first viewing. You'll be hearing more about this anime in the future. Trust me. Oh snap, incoming transmission from Eneps!
On the third death, Eneps here to talk about a couple of my favorite picks for the season. Let's start with Flip Flappers, a pure fun anime that is all about the adventure. Don't worry about the plot, that'll come in time. And may I say that Pipika is the cutest thing in this whole show. I just want to pinch her cheeks. This is going to be one anime that I'll be rewatching again, just from enjoying it so much.
Flip flap, flip flap, flip flap.
Next we have...
Sorry, I'm gonna have to interrupt Eneps' transmission for this one, cause he is talking something that you can't reveal yet.
Last but not least, we have the Cultic 9. First off, throwing anything magic at me is bound to get my attention. By including a diverse cast of characters with each as interesting as the last, in addition to a mystery going on, it's like this anime was almost made for me. If this anime doesn't end up being well received, I will be absolutely shocked. Now giving it back to Firemac, I'll catch you next time everybody.
Now before we get to number 1, here are some honorable mentions that couldn't make the list. Pokemon Generations. With the same quality as Pokemon Origins, Pokemon Generations shows us many moments from the video game series in anime form. Due to erratic showtime length for each episode, we couldn't be sure where to place it on the list, so it ended up as an honorable mention. Lost Storage Incited Whitcross. This anime is a new season, but it deals with brand new characters, so I didn't disqualify it from the list. The card game genre takes a darker turn in this series, but due to some questionable pacing choices, this potentially amazing anime couldn't quite make the cut. Cheating Craft. also known as that thing Naruto already did, but for one episode. This short form anime is all about ridiculous shonen action tropes, with the premise being cheating on exams. Girlish Number. A fun look into the world of voice acting for anime. I'm not sure how much of what is portrayed is true about producing anime, but it's still an enjoyable anime to just relax and watch for the characters. Classical Lloyd. This ridiculous show gives historical musicians an anime facelift. You can expect to see Beethoven or Chopin, or is it Chopin? Chopin? I don't really know. Anyway, you can expect to see them amongst the list of characters, but beyond the crazy portrayals, the one thing that stands out is the music. If the only thing I care about was music, Classical Lloyd may have actually squeezed its way to number 1. It's that good. Drifters. Shimazu Toyohisa is the real-life samurai who fought in the pivotal battle of Sekigahara. In his dying moments, Shimazu is transported to a world of magic with other famous warriors throughout history. These warriors are forced to fight each other in an endless battle. And here we have it, the number 1 anime of the season.
A hardcore anime for hardcore guys. But seriously, as I mentioned before in the podcast, I read a couple chapters of the manga, and the anime is living up to all expectations that I've had for it.
I had a hard time deciding between this one and a Cultic 9 for this slot, but I ultimately decided to go with Drifters. Drifters is from the mind of the creator of Hellsing, Kota Hirano. Given his reputation for brutality from Hellsing, you can definitely expect the same level of brutality in Drifters.
The action and fight scenes are as detailed and gory as the manga, but that's to be expected from something based off the works of Kota Hirano.
The main characters from Drifters are all derived from real-life counterparts of Japanese history. I'm personally not familiar with them, but Nobunaga Oda should be a name that is recognizable amongst most people, because he is definitely up there for being one of the most represented in fiction historical figures out there. There is something larger than the characters or the audience quite understand at this point in the plot, but we can expect it to come to light sooner or later. From the mystery of the overarching plot to the brutality of the gruesome action, Drifters looks to be a stellar anime for the year.
I can't wait to watch more of this anime and see how it all plays out.
And there you have it. That is my list for fall anime of 2016. Did you agree with the list? Should I have put something else at number 1? Should I have included an anime with new seasons? Please let me know in the comments below. Again, sorry for the delay, but ever since the season started, it has been very hectic for me to keep any kind of schedule. I hope you'll still find my list entertaining enough, although we're very much beyond the halfway point of the season already. Before we know it, I'll be scrambling to put together next season's list already. Actually, I wanted to make an announcement in regard to that. This will actually be the last seasonal top list. I'll be discontinuing these for a number of reasons. While it's fun to make these, they do take a considerable amount of time to put together, and they get in the way of highlighting specific shows. And that's something I've wanted to do for a while now. I'll probably make an end of the year list, but that is about it. But don't worry, me and Eneps will still talk about anime seasons in the future. Look forward to our podcast for our impressions of upcoming anime seasons in the near future. This is Firemac saying bye bye, see you next time.